Real Talk with Grace Redman features conversations with fierce and fabulous people from Grace's community and circle who inspire others with their stories of overcoming challenges to create amazing. Grace is an entrepreneur and success coach who works with individuals to diminish their negative mental chatter, boost their confidence, achieve their goals, and increase their prosperity mindset. Get ready for a series of anything goes conversations with remarkable men and women that will get you jazzed for life's unlimited possibilities of success, freedom, and fun. Welcome to Real Talk with Grace Redman.
Thank you so much, friends. I'm Grace Redman. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who have overcome challenges and created amazing. Today, I do have a really incredible, amazing guest with me, and that is Dr. Lena Fernandez. And Dr. Lena is an expert in the field of natural medicine. She's a naturopathic physician who lives with a mission to inspire, empower, and transform lives worldwide with natural therapies. Dr. Fernandez specializes in nutrition, mind-body medicine, thyroid, and hormones. She is the CEO and founder of a thriving clinic, Moringa Natural Health Center, located in Sun City, Arizona. Her personal life journey began in Europe, Kosovo, where she was born and grew up on a family organic farm. And I'm really excited to welcome Dr. Lena Fernandez.
How's it going? Hey, Grace. Hey, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm excited to have get this year kickstart with some really powerful tools that I'm going to share with you, and really similar tools that we've been sharing with you, Grace, and many of my other patients, as far as what does it take us to stay healthy at any stage of our lives. And then we'll be very happy to answer any of your questions. But super excited to have you, Grace, and I'm so also touched and inspired the fact that you're willing to take your time to inspire and motivate and educate other women, because a lot of time there's a lack of knowledge, and that's what we're here to do, to empower, inspire, and motivate you and give you the knowledge that you need to stay healthy.
Yes,
Thank you for having me, Grace. Yeah,
of course. No, like I said, I mean, you've been a game changer in my life, and I was amazed like how quickly I started to feel better. And the reason, so I met I found out about Dr. Lena Fernandez on Sunny Don Johnson's podcast, and you happened to be talking about hormones and energy, and I had been struggling with energy. Granted, I still worked out every day. I worked a full schedule and I did everything I was doing. But as you know, I would experience this like extreme fatigue. And I'm a go-getter, and extreme fatigue and me don't go well together. And so that's when I came to visit you. And no, I didn't come to Sun City. I had an appointment with you over Zoom, so you do offer that. But it's changed. It's really changed my life, and that's why it's so important to me to share, what you've taught me, because I think we struggle in silence. We struggle in silence, and the struggle is real, and the hormone fatigue is real. And I really want to put it out there so no one feels alone in this. Well, I think it's at any stage of life, but especially in this stage of life for us women.
absolutely. And then, Grace, you're not the only one. And this is what happens with us, especially women, is that we start feeling fatigued. Usually that's and could be one of the sign that, okay, something is imbalanced inside of our system, inside of our body system. But then what happens is that we go to regular doctors, right? And we do basic blood work, we do basic checkups, and everything shows us fine. So what do? Well, you go home, you're fine,
Yeah.
and we go through this journey of vicious cycles, and then all of a sudden next thing happens is you can't sleep. It takes hours to fall asleep or stay asleep, or all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining weight on crazy despite of working out, eating clean, or I'm not having any libido, I'm not enjoying my sex life, I'm not enjoying my relationships now. So that all kind of is a vicious cycle where the symptoms start varies. Usually it's fatigue is the initial signs of, okay, there's some hormonal inside of your system that are off, and we're going to talk a little bit what those look like and what we want those to look like when you're more balanced. Like you said, I felt incredibly better. Well, that makes sense. When your body has all the essential systems balanced, you should feel great. You'll be able to focus. You should be able, especially you're a go-getter like me, we're working hours and hours. We have so many responsibilities.
Mhm.
We don't have, frankly, time to slow down. Nobody's going to do the work for me, right? So for us, so we need to get going and make sure that we're living our mission and then what we're meant to be doing while we feel good. When we don't feel good, we don't we're not able to share the powerful energy and powerful things that we're supposed to do with in our lives with others, because when you're fatigued you can't focus, you don't have the energy to do. All you want to do is take naps or sleep or drink coffee despite of that, and that gives you a little bit of energy surge and then you drop again. So this is then the first initial things that I always encourage my patients. You're not only one, Grace, who came to me is like something is off, and that makes completely sense of why my hormones would be off. And it could be because anything we naturally, as we would call part of the process of aging, our systems slow down. That's part of the natural what
Damn.
them, right? But but here's the thing. I've seen hormone issue even the people who are in their 20s.
That's what you
Why
mentioned.
is this happening? First of all, it's the lifestyle. The what does that mean? The sleep hygiene. Okay, are you going to sleep on time? Are you waking up on time? Are you eating nutritious meals versus just eating whatever it is in front of you to get you full and not necessarily nutritious rich? Are you eating things that are empty in nutrition but full of calories? Are you drinking enough water? Are you happy? Mental, emotional focus. It's very important too. Looking at the deeper level. But the first thing, since this topic is more about hormones, it's not just about progesterone. It's not just about testosterone. It's not just about estrogen. It's about your whole body system. And what we saw for you, Grace, is we noticed that, if that's okay, I share a little bit of your case. You
Mhm.
not only did you have completely no hormone, but you also had your adrenal or your thyroid where we needed to be. And
Mhm.
your gut, we needed to support that too. So you have to look at those, the adrenals, the thyroid, the gut is what we call the powerhouse. I'm always working with my patients to balance those out, because when you digest better, when you absorb better, your hormones are going to be more balanced. Your brain, you're going to be able to rest more, because now your stress hormone like cortisol, it's not super high at the wrong time. Like for example, in the evening, if you're having trouble falling asleep, we need to get your gut. That's where melatonin is made, to make melatonin instead of your body feeling like you're in a fight or flight response, like cortisol fight flight, and get you rested and digested. So that's where we need to look at. For example, I'm going to just show you this hormone pathway, Grace. So everyone, you better remember this, because at the end of this podcast, I'm going to have you memorize it and ask
Oh,
questions.
oh,
That was me in medical school. You don't have to do that. I'm here to teach you. But so, what does it take? Okay, so let's just kind of backtrack first. Why hormone issue? Any type of stressor causes depletion in your hormones. That could be lack of sleep, lack of nutrients, physical pain, procedure, surgeries, hysterectomy, whether it's partial hysterectomy where your ovaries or where ovaries are left but uterus is gone, or complete hysterectomy where ovaries and the uterus is gone for whatever reason. For reasons because you had endometriosis or cyst or any type of other reasons. The other thing is, the most important is you want to understand is rest. How much rest are you actually? It's not just about amount of hours, the quality of rest is. So how do you know you're actually resting well? Well, first of all, you wake up refreshed. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I don't need coffee to stimulate me, to wake me up. I don't need any type of stimulant to get me going. So that's, we need to make sure. So make sure that you're going to bed on time, like 3 hours before bedtime. Finish any type of physical activities. That could be workout, projects. 2 hours before bedtime, have dinner, especially dinner time. That should be usually the smallest meal, smallest portion of the meal. So your body at night is not so busy digesting, absorbing, but instead is actually healing or recovering. So there's not a lot of work that needs to be done, what you just did with working out or eating. An hour before bedtime, that's very important that you rest. an hour before bedtime for many years, especially before technology took over our lives, used to be a sacred time in
Mhm.
our society, in our among people. This was the used to be a time for prayers, for meditation, for reading spiritual books, inspiring book, Bible, whatever book you read out there that inspires you, connecting with people that you love, turning off all electronics, and really just being present and
And
grounded. That's going to eventually train our brain, our body, our because mind body connection to
mhm.
reduce the cortisol level, which is stress. Because what happens in when we are overly, can you see this okay? To send out here. So what
I think
happens
so. There's some pieces missing, but we'll put it up later.
can you see? Yeah, the cortisol here. What happens when your hormones are off? We get stuck in this fight or flight response known as cortisol response.
Mhm.
So, for example, in your case, we did a saliva test to see, okay, how
Mhm.
much stress is in your body? And remember, we said, okay, it's way off. We
Yeah,
need to get that.
which is crazy. It was crazy for me, the results when they came back, because I eat fairly clean. I mean, not super clean, but I definitely eat fairly clean. I enjoy things in moderation. I exercise every day. I meditate every day. I'm super healthy. Like all my blood work, my from my regular doctor is clean. So when my tests came back, I was shocked because I felt like I'm living, this healthy lifestyle, but then the test I took with you showed that I was completely out of balance.
Right. Yeah, and that's unfortunately that's where we have our patients do it, what we call a comprehensive workup. We want to make sure that we really dive deep into what are the imbalances in your body system. Look at what I call 360-degree views. And this is why initially I do more workup with my patients, knowing, okay, what is the missing link? Because if I just do a 1 or 2 vial of blood work and say, oh yeah, your kidneys or electrolytes are fine, and don't evaluate the entire workup of your hormones, like estrogens, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. There are 3 types of estrogen we're going to touch up a little bit, making sure that one of the, especially the bad estrogen known as estrone, and that's what we always investigate when I do a urine test in your case or on my patients, making sure that that's not converted into bad type of estrogen known as 16-hydroxy or 4-hydroxyestrone. So that's a little bit too much, but the biggest thing is knowing that your hormones are balanced. Because what happens in a lot of cases, people are put on estrogen patch or people are just put on progesterone. Well, if you're in menopause and you're just taking progesterone and you're not necessarily, so if you're just taking progesterone, let's say your doctor just gave you progesterone and you're not in your menopause, you're no longer bleeding and you're not balancing estrogens here. There are 3 estrogens here known as E1, E2, and E3. Estrone is E1, estradiol E2, and E3 is estriol. So if you don't balance those out, what happens is your hormones become imbalanced, and a lot of time that can lead to some sort of mass issue or cancer.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's when women come to me and say, "Well, I'm in a progesterone. How long have you been on it?" Or since I had hysterectomy, but and then you haven't opposed with estrogen. That's not a smart idea. So I always also educate practitioners, doctors all over the country is how to balance those hormones effectively. Number one, you feel excellent. Number two, you're whether you're in bioidentical hormones or whatever protocol you are, it's safe and effective.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest thing is when it comes because a lot of people come to me and say, "Can I just start a bioidentical hormone?" Or I'm already doing patches, some sort of a patch, or I'm already doing some sort of pellets. That's fine, but we need to make sure that your hormones are balanced because we don't want to end up later on having more problems like breast cancer or
And
uterine cancer.
so for someone like myself who, was, for the most part living a healthy lifestyle, what causes the hormone imbalance? I
And
mean,
here's
I
the
thought I
thing,
was doing everything right.
right? Part of it is because it's all comes down to, and I'll share just a little bit about you. We talked about stressor for you. You weren't sleeping as well, and
Mhm.
that's a huge stressor. That's over time. It's like the car is on E. You have no tank oil in your tank, but
Mhm.
when you go home, you park the car and the engine is still on. So you're burning fuel even though you don't need to. You're not going anywhere. So that's what happens when you don't sleep is you burn your hormones, your adrenals and thyroid in your gut. You pretty much put the whole body system under stress even when you don't need to. And that could be overthinking, other things that you have responsibility. That's a
I
lot of
have distractions in my house, that's why I can't sleep.
yeah, distractions, right? So if that's the case, if you're not sleeping, we need to make sure that you're having a good quality of sleep, because sooner or later, it's only going to compromise your obviously your hormones, but overall health as well. Puts you at higher risk. In fact, there was a very good study, and by the way, I'm also a chemist, a scientist, and there was a really good study conducted in Sweden. It showed that people who don't sleep even for 1 week, they have irreversible brain damage up to 25%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so basically it means that the part of our body are dying, and that puts our puts our risk for strokes, heart attacks, other issues like depression, anxiety. If you're struggling with anxiety, depression, focus, and you're not sleeping well, and you're put on antidepressants or anxiolytic medication, if that's what you want, that's fine, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to, that's just
Like a
having
Band-Aid.
a band-aid. Over
Mhm.
time, you're still gonna struggle. So sleep is very vital. And how do we again balance your sleep is knowing where is your stress hormone level at. And then normally with my patients, like in your case, supplementation, hormones replacement if you need to when it's needed, if you're a good candidate. And also, my patients can sometimes fly to me for intravenous treatments, like all nutrition IVs, to get your body system balanced more rapidly because you absorb 100%. And all that, and lifestyle. So you're already doing all the things you need to do right. You just needed an extra step of uh,
Mhm.
balancing your systems, extra support to get your hormones checked. So if you're one of those, okay, I can't sleep, I'm gaining weight, I have no libido, I am struggling with focus, anxiety, depression, I don't wake up rested, then you need to check your hormones. And you need to check that and make sure you do a full panel, including, as I've mentioned, first make sure that you check pregnenolone, progesterone, DHEA, uh, all the estrogens, testosterone, so forth. Because what happens in a lot of cases, again, you just tested for progesterone and you're good to go. And here is a pill, and then you should be fine. So we
So
still
they're not
do
testing overall, it sounds like they're not testing the overall, you have to test more than one thing.
exactly, yes. Yeah, so you can get tested by blood, but if you do the blood, you want to follow up with a blood draw to see where you're at. If you do urine test, you want to continue to follow up with urine test to make sure that we're on the right track. Because sometimes it takes up to 2 years to fully recover your hormones. So that's why normally, if my patients are local or able to fly to me, we do intravenous treatments anywhere from 5 to 16 weeks to get them their adrenals restored more effectively, and then we'll follow up with nutrition and so forth,
I
supplement.
know I noticed for me the nutrition, although like I was eating clean, I noticed when I love sugar, so I'd eat sugar every day, something small, but I noticed when I changed my eating habits just a little bit, that made a huge difference. I
Yeah,
was shocked. I stopped drinking coffee a few years ago, so it wasn't the coffee that I, took out of my, diet. It was the heavy carbs, sugars, and right away, I noticed an energy. I was floored, like how my energy shifted. And I didn't. It's not like I ate a ton of carbs or a ton of sugar. I still ate it, um, but just cutting it back even more. I was shocked how much energy I had just from making that small change.
exactly. So you brought a really good point. Anytime you eat sugar, especially, let's say I tell my patients that, can I have a piece of chocolate or a little bit of cake? It's my birthday. That's okay, but make sure that you don't have it late in the evening. Have it during lunchtime if you're gonna have some sort of sugary stuff, right? If you're like, absolutely, I gotta have my dark chocolate, right? Because if you do it, especially after 2 p.m., what happens is your body thinks sugar, it increases puts you immediately in this what we call the cortisol response. You see this cortisol stress response.
Mhm.
Anytime your cortisol goes high, guess what? Your insulin and your blood sugar goes high too. So that's the time when your hormones are going to be even more off, and you're more likely to store fat, especially if you're storing, especially if you feel like you're bloated, you're constipated, or you're gaining weight around your abdominal area. So let's say you're going to have some sweets. Make sure even high sugar fruits, which we know as high glycemic fruits, like tropical fruits like banana, grapes, watermelon, papaya, and things like that. You want to make sure that you don't eat it by itself. You eat it with some nuts or seeds or avocado or something else, and you don't eat it too late at night.
All my favorite fruits.
Yeah. So eat it in more earlier time, especially before 2 p.m. Because after 2 p.m. is when remember we tested your cortisol, is when your cortisol changes again, it starts to drop. We
Mhm.
want to see the drop nicely because by the time you go to bed, by usually you don't want to go later than 10 p.m. to bed. If you're a night owl, that obviously I understand, but it's good to go to bed earlier because anytime you go to bed after, ideally 9, but if you can't, 10 p.m. because after that your body thinks you're a daytime, so your biological clock changes absolutely. And that's another thing, it's a huge stressor for your body is people who work night shifts.
Mhm.
They've been in night shifts for so many days, weeks, years that they're just their physiology is completely changed. So that leads more to weight gain, and also studies show more risk for heart attacks, strokes, etc. And
I
less
mean,
immune system. Yeah.
and there's so many different things to do to kind of live that optimal healthy lifestyle, and it's challenging, even for the most, I think, what's the word? For the most committed people, it can be challenging because there's all of the, there's amazing, delicious food and there's parties and alcohol and you want to stay up late. How can you live like kind of how can it be moderated? Like can we live in moderation? Does it have to be very strict? Like what can we do? Can we like be in the middle with all of it?
It all depends what your goal is. Let's say your goal is to lose 10, 15 pounds by in 90 days from now. Then you have to be a little bit more strict, more committed, right? Or you want to have a super powerful immune system like myself, because I deal with obviously with people, all kinds of types of people all day long, very sick, very ill patients, and so forth. And you don't want to get sick. You want to be strong, so you need to be a little bit more strict, right? Especially when it comes to eating sugary foods and grains, because all that depletes your immune system. So let's say you're good, you're feeling good, you're sleeping good, you're at your ideal weight, your energy is good, your focus is good, and having obviously living in moderation, it's all going to be that moderation can vary from person to person. But for me personally, I allow myself to eat whatever I like once a week, and that's Sundays.
Mhm.
That's like you could call it cheat day, right?
Yeah.
So that's my cheat day. Monday through Saturday, I'm gonna be very mindful of what I eat. For example, I have here, I'm gonna snack on celery. They didn't. I'm a new mom, so I don't have time to even put it in my plastic, or bag it. Just I'm gonna take my celery. I'm gonna snack on it. So it all gonna depend on what your goal is. So once a week is kind of, you can allow yourself to say, okay, I'm going to have some ice cream, or I don't eat just anytime. Oh, I feel like I have a cravings for chocolate and I'm going to just eat it. That's not it. Initially, it's going to take some time, but this is why I put my patients on what we call 14-day liver detox. Because when you detox your liver, and it's gentle detox, and we're going to, when you do that, and it's not like where you have a little, explosive diarrhea, but just basically liver detox is to reset your system. You're
Mhm.
less likely to crave. And when your hormones are more, when your liver is more optimal, because that's when all your hormones take place is in your liver. So they're made in different parts of your body, especially adrenals and uterus. But in liver is what we call when they are absorbed and digested and metabolized. So they're all regulated there. How much good or bad estrogen, it all takes place in the liver. So cleaner your gut, mainly liver meaning your gut, the better you detoxify your body, more hydration, better quality sleep, better eating habits, the more balanced your hormones are going to be, including your thyroid. We're talking more about the adrenal hormones right now, but then we have another place where another time we can talk about thyroid. Well, that's the biggest thing. Moderation is that's going to look depend how differently for you. That works well for me. Sometimes for my patients, I tell them, you know what, you want to eat. Let's say one of my patients has to have her dark chocolate every day, and she's 90 years old. Like,
Yeah, give her the dark
dark
chocolate.
chocolate. I gotta have my dark chocolate. She's super strong, super healthy. She hikes, she does all that, and
Mhm.
she will have just a quarter of the, how the squared chocolate are, a quarter of that. Have it every day. Enjoy it, right? Don't
For
worry.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Any time of the day. So it all gonna vary, or what is it you want to accomplish, what stage of your health you are. If you're
Mhm.
like, I'm really struggling, I have severe physical pain, I wake up with joint pain, I wake up with brain fog, I wake up and feel like I just run over the truck run over me and I slept I felt like I slept at least 6, 7 hours. What's happening? That means your body system are very inflamed. So
Mhm.
at that point, we do need to be more strict. And then this is why I put my patients on cleaning basic, very simple, effective detoxes to reset your body system. So first of all, you know what it looks like to eat cleaner. And secondly, you know what it feels like to have less inflammation in your body. Because when you're inflammation, what does that mean? Well, it means that your toxins now from sugar intake, from lack of sleep, all of those are really traveling to your brain, to your joints, to your heart, to your gut, causing different symptoms for different people. And that's what we call eventually diagnosis. You go to again to your regular doctor and you are carrying what we call a sexy diagnosis. And you're like, oh, I have that. So I'm supposed to live with it for the rest of your life. But you don't.
No, and also, like, again, like, that we talked about so many different things, like habits, lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and we have all these habits, and I know for me, I didn't change all my habits at once. I feel like it was a step by step. I started with one habit, then the next, getting better habits. If there was one habit someone to start getting on this healthy lifestyle, what's the one habit you would tell them to work on shifting?
I would say the one that is the most often that are doing the know it's a wrong habit for them. Let's say people wake up every morning and the first thing they do is they drink 4 cups of coffee. I'm gonna tell them, you know what? Let's try to reduce it to 3 a day for a week, and then
Mhm.
to two,
Start
and then
small.
to one, and see go to there because you wanna switch to the habit that's affecting you the most. If you're not sleeping, you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, we're going to talk about okay, let's follow this 3-2-1 rules, right? 3 hours before bedtime, 2 hours before, 1 hour before time. Follow that simple rules of turning the lights off an hour before bedtime, read inspirational book, rest and relax, meditate, journal, finish dinner earlier 2 hours before, and finish any physical activities 3 hours before. Try to do that for at least, it takes about anywhere 14 to 90 days for people to really inherit a lifestyle that is healthy to replace it with a bad habit. It's easy to get right back into the bad habit.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot longer to get into a good habit. So I'll say do what, and then you pay attention to your what is it you're doing every day. Lifestyle. This is what's going to change your life.
Mhm.
Inheriting and habits that it's healthy for you. First of all, you're going to pass those habits to the next generation, to your family member,
That's
kids,
right.
grandkids, and you're going to inspire other people. And secondly, you're going to be among those 2% of our population who are healthy and not 90% of populations who are suffering, whether it's weight gain.
That's a crazy number, Dr. Lena. 90% to
Yeah,
2%. I mean, that's
90, yeah, absolutely. Anyone they're struggling with
insane.
something, whether they tell you or not, right?
True.
Uh,
That's true.
yeah,
And again, I've been on this healthy lifestyle journey for many, many years, and if I had, met with you 10 years ago or 15 years ago, like, I had so many bad habits, I would have been like, "Ah, screw this, I'm not ready for it."
mhm.
And I just want our audience to recognize, like, it doesn't all have to be done at once. It's just like taking tiny little baby steps and sticking to that one, shifting that one not so healthy habit to a healthy habit. It takes time. And I know, like, at the beginning of the year, it's like we all want to get to the gym, and then we don't, we stop because we set this huge goal, and it's good to start with the tiny goals. Like, even when I started with you, like, I went pretty strict, and I know that's not ideal for my lifestyle. So now I just gave myself a little bit. So I'm still healthier. It's just this is wasn't realistic for me. That's I need my martinis, Dr. Lena.
Exactly. No, I hear you. And that's the thing I always tell my patient is that you have to ask yourself how healthy you want to be. And that tomorrow, next week, next month, this year, next 5, 10 years, do you want to be independent? Do you want to, or do you want to depend on others? Do you want
Mhm,
to enter menopause and not enjoy life anymore? And then yeah, it's all about balance. You have fun,
mhm,
enjoy life. If you want to have a martini once a week, that's absolutely fine. But if you're going to have a martini every night, well, it's going to cause, well, first of all, it's going to really shift your hormones into the wrong pathway and get you in sooner or later in the disease state.
mhm.
So, and then so you just need to be mindful one step at a time. one bite, what's my dad always tells me, well, Berlin is not made overnight. It took
Right.
years to build Berlin Wall, right? Because my dad is
Exactly.
very inspirational. So, and
Exactly.
my parents are, so generally speaking, but he always reminds me that. So same thing, your lifestyle is always going to work on your mindset, your spiritual journey, whatever it is you're working on. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do that for a week and then I'm done. It's a long journey.
Right.
And we all go through this life called whatever we want to call it, but it's a journey that we all go through. And I'm hoping that you call it an awesome, healthy life
Yes.
versus, oh my gosh, I'm struggling day to day. My patients come to me and say, I don't know how it's like to live without physical pain, joint pain, migraines for years. I just feel like that's my normal life. And when we get them healthy and they're no longer having migraines, they're no longer waking up fatigued, they're sleeping well, they're happy, and they're like, wow, I didn't realize my body could do that. Your
Yeah.
body's amazing. Your body could do a lot of
Mhm.
things. And I'm hoping you're one of those that say, I'm not going to let my daily choices prevent me from living an awesome life that I'm supposed to do. And it takes again, it's work. It's
It's
commitment.
commitment. It's commitment, it's consistency, and I'm definitely committed because I see the difference, and I've been committed to a healthier lifestyle. It's just that fatigue, was debilitating, and it's amazing how I feel now and how much more productive I am, and that's why I think it's so important to, have you on and educate our audience because like you said, you can go to the doctor, everything's fine, but there's still an underlier there. The hormone struggle is real, and we don't have to live that way.
No.
So tell me, how did you get into this field? Like, how did you become like, this person to help us on the other side? Because there's two sides. There's the, like you said, the naturopathic and the conventional way. What made you choose this way?
It was my personal journey. I started having hormone issue when I was in my teenage life, when I was around 14. I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, where I grew up organically. I ate pretty clean. We had our own Whole Food store, so candies weren't a choice for me every single day, right? We used to have it like, I don't know, on my birthday. That was it, right? Then I moved here, and the reason we moved here because there was a war in my native country in Kosovo. Political turmoil took over and destroyed all of our properties. So we were homeless 2 years for 2 years, and then we're lucky enough to escape our country, migrated to Macedonia, and then that's when we stayed there for another 5 months in the camp, refugee camp, and then we signed up to come to America, hoping that we were chosen to be here, and we did. So I was 14 years old. We came here. I didn't speak English. I never forget. There was a McDonald's across high school that I started, and you can imagine I was just eating anything and whatever everybody was
Like
eating.
kids do now.
Exactly, milkshake for breakfast and it, basically ice cream every single day. So I gained about 40 pounds
Mm,
immediately. I started having skin problems like acne. I couldn't sleep. I would poop once a month if I was lucky.
mm.
Well, it was really I became very toxic. My body system became I really didn't want to live. And every time I went to the doctor, another medication piled up in my medicine cabinet. By the time I turned 18, there was 10 different medication. I didn't even know what I was taking for. It was just causing more side effects. So kind of, that was I hit the wall, and sometimes we have to hit the wall to just say, okay, I need to do something differently. So I went to one of the last doctor. I said, I need help. You have to please help me. And she referred me to a naturopathic doctor, and that changed my life. We did a clean my systems, balanced my hormones. I had a skin. I feel better. I feel better now, of course, than I was a teenager. So that's really what turned me, and then that motivated me to do more research and development as a scientist to research. Okay, how does environmental toxicity affects your body system, including foods that we eat, certain chemicals, vaccines, medications, and so forth. Well, basically, I was studied health versus disease. So I became a scientist and I did research and development for over a decade
Wow.
during college and so forth. So I understand how conventional route works really well. And I also understand how naturopathic, more holistic route can take care of your body. We're looking more holistically if you want to live long and you want to live healthy. We're looking more conventional if you're looking more for just more immediate symptomatic care, which is great for acute situations. But if it comes to chronic, if you're having pain every day and you take ibuprofen, well, that's going to put you at risk in the near future for ulcers and stomach cancer, right? So it's long term is not something you should rely on chemicals. So that's why I became really passionate, because I realized how much this changed my life. And I was according to my parents, that's why we kind of moved here, because they wanted me to become a surgeon, like my
Mhm.
are all doctors, they're different
God
surgeons.
bless.
So yeah, and then when I became a natural doctor, now they still don't know what kind of doctor I am, but I just let her know. She just kind of
What
she
what are
doesn't
you do?
she doesn't cut gallbladders, but she doesn't cut colors out. But I don't know, is the kind of doctor. Um, but that's really I believe every practitioner should understand nutrition, because
Absolutely.
nutrition is critical in educating your patients and educating yourself on. And I am not huge on dieting. People say try ketogenic diet or vegan diet or paleo diet. That's fine. That can work temporary, but it's not sustainable. Just like you said, it's okay to be on strict diet for a little short period of time, but you can't sustain 500 calories for the rest of your life, daily for the rest of your life. It's not practical. So you want to inherit a lifestyle that you're just going to eat cleaner, like say inflammatory foods. You know what? I'm not for 7 days set goal. For next 7 days, I'm going to reduce my caffeine intake, or I'm going to reduce my ice cream or cookies, or I'm going to eat less bread, because bread turns into sugar, and eventually that affects your cortisol and your sugar and insulin and so forth. Most people who struggle with weight gain also have what we call are in pre-diabetes zone, called insulin resistant. So you can't eliminate pre-diabetes unless you change your lifestyle.
Mhm.
So that's something important. And then also enhancing balancing your hormones, it's going to also help you get out of this zone of insulin resistance. And if you're struggling with weight gain, or you can't sleep good, or you feel joint issues, joint pain, so forth, headache, you need to make sure that your blood sugar is regulated,
Mhm.
because if your blood sugar and your hormones are not regulated, you're just going to struggle. And you may work out every day, you may go to gym, work out, sweat, you may try all these what I call fat diet, but you may not get where you want to be unless we get to the root cause. And that's what I do. I get to the root causes of my patients' health problems.
Mhm.
And yeah,
And I love that, because it's like you said, it's a mind body. It's not just the body, it's also the mind, um, as well. And, in my late 20s, early 30s, when I was under tremendous amount of stress, that's when I had the most physical ailments in my body. And now as I look back, our mind has so much, to do with our health as well. Now that my mind is healthier, other than the fatigue, it's rare that I have physical complaints.
right. Yeah. It
It
also
said it's
really,
mind body.
yeah, mind, body, and I also like to add your spiritual aspect too.
Yeah.
Where it's important to be able to balance all that area, because if you feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I hate my life, or I wake up every day
Mm,
not really not having the gratitude you deserve, because you always have to know that someone else is in much worse situation than you are. So be grateful. Even when we were homeless, we had nothing. We came to the United States with $5 in our pocket. We literally had nothing. We're still grateful. We had grateful because we had each other, my family. Thank God, my family members, at least my immediate members, survived. And secondly, when we moved here, we were grateful because we had a roof over our head.
what
We
a
didn't
blessing.
have any roof over our head for 2 years. We didn't have any bed. We didn't have any sheets. We slept on the floor for a few months, but that's okay. We're happy. We're grateful.
Mhm.
Be grateful what you got. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you always want to strive to be more, whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. It's good to have goals, because goals keeps us keep moving. If you don't are not willing to have goals or accomplish something, then we become more stagnant. But and enjoy the journey. This is so important. Enjoy the journey. Be grateful for what you got. Be in present moment. Don't worry about really what's happening in the world right now. Yes, you want to pay attention to. Yes, you want to take, and this is a time to take care of you more than ever before. You can't afford your immune system to be depleted.
Mhm.
End up, God forbid, in hospital. That's one thing I always tell my patients: we can't and we're going to do everything we can prevent, especially those who aren't as healthy, to prevent you from having to go to hospital. Even though you may feel healthy today, if you're not willing to reverse your diabetes, or if you're not willing to change your lifestyle or lose some weight, we're going to get there sooner or later where we end up. And heart disease is number one cause of death in the United States. Every 35 seconds, someone dies.
Mhm.
And we're seeing heart disease now in much younger generation. We used to see it in people who are like in late 50s, early 60s. Now we're seeing in their 30s, early
Wow.
40s.
Wow.
And we have more chemicals now available than ever before, more diagnostic tools now ever than before. Why is it that we're having such a decline in our health in much younger generations now? We're seeing hormone issue in people who are obviously in their teenagehood, stress. We're seeing more cancer. It's all really lifestyle, and then that starts
Yeah.
with mind body. And if
Mhm.
you're stressed out, if you're not happy, do something that you can change that situation, where because life is too short to be cranky and unhappy and always complained in a sense. So you make sure that you know where you're at and you know where you stand, and have a goal and have a system that works well for you and your family, so you can live healthy. You can live powerful life without having to be in so much stress and worrisome.
Amen to that. Yes. And there's nothing better than living in that way, in that optimal health, feeling the peace, feeling healthy, and we have choices. It's been amazing having you on today.
Thank
You
you.
always bring so much powerful knowledge to the table. There's so much we can learn from you.
I hope this was helpful for everyone. But definitely, the last thing, um, take control of your life, take control of your mind, your body, your soul. Just take control of if if there is something that you're is off, get help. That's the biggest thing. Is in our society we're taught, especially as women, to push
Mhm.
through and not ask for help. So
That's
don't
true.
be afraid to ask for help. I'm here to help you. Anything you need, I would love to help you. Get help from Grace, whatever it is that you need. Know that you're not on this alone. You don't have to go through this like whole life journey, life alone. Get the
Yeah,
support, get a team that's going to help you stay powerful and kick butt in life, because you can. That's why you're designed to do.
absolutely. I love that. We can. That's what we're designed to do. Absolutely. We didn't come here to live in the lack. We came here to live in the abundance. I love
Absolutely.
it. So, for those that are watching, how can they find you, Dr. Lena?
They can go to my website, www.m as a Mary, nhcaz.com. And I have actually on my website, I have a free ebook that kind of guides you, okay, how to balance your hormones more effectively, especially for those that want to get started right away at home and to improve energy. So they can download that free ebook. And then from there, they will be on our community list where they will get my future videos, blogs, because I publish blogs, talk about hormones,
Mhm.
nutrition, talk about different aspects. I just like to educate my community and my team as much as we can, my patients as well, all over the world. And then I'm on Facebook once a month. I go live there where they can just search Moringa Natural Health Center. That's my clinic page where I go live, and I just kind of what we do here, just educate more. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of me as well through obviously just ask Grace. She's like, yeah,
And I'll have your information also at the end of the podcast. And once we upload it to the podcast platform, your information will be there
yeah,
for them
yeah,
to
yeah. And
reach
I'm
out.
exactly. I'm on Instagram as well, Moringa Natural Health Center. So there absolutely there's you can call me, you can email me. Just biggest thing is whatever it is that you want to accomplish, make sure you start now
Mhm.
and make sure that you set one little small goal at a time. And I would love to help you in any way I can for sure.
And I can vouch if you are interested in connecting with Dr. Lena and have questions, also reach out to me. I can definitely tell you what my experience is. But you can also find her on Yelp because she has 221 five-star reviews. So that shows like how amazing you are. And it's been incredible to connect with you. Thank you so much for being the game changer in my life, for joining me today. I appreciate you very much. And you really do so much for so many. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Grace, and for having me. And hopefully, and again, we can continue to inspire, motivate, and educate everyone, especially your community and the women who are, or men, generally speaking, as well. Anyone who would like to get their health journey to the next level. I hope that this year finds you and your loved ones super well. And yes, thank you for having me. And I'm glad to have you all here as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, thank you all to all of those who joined us live. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you to those who have joined us on the replay. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share, because sharing is caring. You never know who might need to hear this information. I am so grateful for you, and I look forward to seeing you all again on the next episode. So have a fantastic rest of the week, everyone. Hey, love, thank you so much for listening today. I am so grateful for you. I'd like to show you my appreciation by gifting you a free forgiveness self-hypnosis audio download. Part of living the fun and fabulous life is practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness can be such a long and challenging process. My intention is that this forgiveness audio will help you in practicing forgiveness, especially with yourself. Grab it by visiting daretoachieve.com/forgiveness. For more inspiring tips, make sure to connect with me on social media. Drop me a line on Facebook or Instagram at Grace Redman Dare to Achieve. Until next time, keep moving forward towards living your fabulous life.